I've had people ask me recently, how do you know if a business idea is worth pursuing? Nate, there are so many business ideas out there, so many avenues in which I can take. How do I navigate which business idea is for me? I hear this from so many entrepreneurs. So many people want to start businesses. They want to take that next step because they know that that's where the money is, the freedom, and the flexibility is, but they don't know how to evaluate business ideas. And what happens is usually people get into businesses that they shouldn't be, and they don't necessarily fail. They just quit because they know that that business isn't really partnered up with them and what they want out of life. So I have basically a 6-tiered approach on how you can rate business ideas. Each level is given a score through 1 through 5. 1 means that it's not attainable at all. 5 is very attainable. And I'm going to put this in the comments below. But let me just go through this. There's 6 categories in which I am rating businesses. I do this in my own life. I have a couple businesses, and I've probably thought about starting 8 or 9 to 10 different businesses this year, but none of them really fit with what I really wanted them. And I use this scale every time. And I have a certain number in which if the number is above that, then I'll strongly consider starting that business. Okay, so the first category is startup cost. Okay. So startup cost is, what am I going to have to buy to get this business going? Am I going to have to buy equipment? Am I going to have to buy a whole bunch of stuff? And the score between 1 and 5 here is 5 is really expensive, this is a big expenditure for you. 1 meaning it's very minimal, right? And that's different for everybody. Some people have a lot of money laying around where a $50,000 startup cost is nothing. Some people don't have that much money laying around where they're like, hey, I don't have any money to start a business. Okay, so then the rating on that is if it costs a lot of money and you don't have the money, then you would give it a 1. If it doesn't cost that much money and you can easily start the business, you'd give it a 5. Okay. Number 2 is expertise. That means, do you have the training? Do you have a certification to start this business? Do you have the know-how? Do you know how to do it? Right? If you want to start a plumbing company but you don't know how to plumb, that would get a low score. Okay, if like I own an insurance agency, you have to have an insurance license. If you don't have an insurance license, that would give you a low score. A high score would be something like that you could pretty easily learn, right? Let's think about social media marketing. You could learn about how to create social media posts for businesses, and you can learn how to do that by using like Canva or different tools to learn that. So that would be a pretty high score of 4 or 5 because it's pretty easy for you to learn that within probably a day or two. So if I were you, I would try to make sure that you're trying to start businesses that are at least a 3, 4, or a 5, because when you get in the 1s and 2s, you're going to have to learn spend a lot of time learning that business, which may make sense. But again, we're looking at the overall score here. I would want to see a 3 or a 4 or a 5 in this area, which means that I can easily gain the expertise, or I already have the expertise to start this business. The next thing is lifestyle fit. This is a little bit harder to define, but this is something you should define. A lifestyle means, hey, if I visualize my life in 10 years being, hey, I have a business I can operate from my house, or maybe I have a business that I can operate from an office, have a staff, I'm able to take time off, I'm able to not be in the office every day. Can you scale that business to where it kind of runs itself? Or is it fitting what you want out of life? Are you working 8 to 5? Are you working nights? Because then you're away from your family. So you're really kind of defining, hey, what do I want my life to look like? Some people may say, hey, I don't care what my life looks like as long as I make money. Okay, well, then this category may not mean that much to you, and then almost everything would have a high score. But a low score in this is, hey, I value my time with my family when they get home from 3 to 4. I want to be there for my kids. And if you have a tow truck business, well, you may not be able to be there for your kids at 4 p.m. at night. After they get home from school. So that might be a lower score in that category, right? But a social media marketing company or a bookkeeping business will allow you to work from home where you're there with your kids. So a high score in that means that it really fits your lifestyle. A low score means it doesn't fit your lifestyle at all. The fourth one here, which I think is really important, is reoccurring revenue. Reoccurring revenue means that when somebody buys from you, there is a chance or there's a monthly reoccurring charge, right? So you think of a roofing company. There's probably little to no reoccurring revenue there unless they have a replacement because of a hailstorm. But really, you put on a roof for somebody, it's going to last for 30 years. So, this business does not have reoccurring revenue. A reoccurring revenue could exist in like a plumbing company. It could exist and social media marketing, bookkeeping. There's a monthly charge for your service. You're providing the service every single month, and you're continuing to make money. I would say try to, in every business that you start, try to create some sort of mechanism of reoccurring revenue, because if you can do that, that makes the business sellable. A sellable business means that there's value in the company in which somebody could buy that company and the revenue still stays there. So some businesses have reoccurring revenue, some of them don't. When you're evaluating this, make sure the ones that have reoccurring revenue that hits very quickly, that means multiple times within a year. So like my insurance agency, business insurance, we make money on that once a year. Personal insurance, we make money on it twice a year. So, but we have that reoccurring revenue. Okay, so that would be a high score for my business. That's why I really like it, and that's why when I'm evaluating businesses, like I was thinking about starting a virtual assistant staffing company, and that is really nice because every single month that the staffing person works, I make money. So reoccurring revenue is there, so that's given a high score. I really weigh this category really high because I like to build businesses in which I can sell. Reoccurring revenue is something you can sell. Think of a property manager. Every single month, they get a percentage of the rent for managing those properties. That's reoccurring revenue. That's value. So make sure that you're looking at businesses that have a high score in this category. The fifth thing here is scalability. Can a business be scaled? And you have to define how big you want your business, which is kind of a loaded question because I always say, hey, you should want your business to be big, because the bigger it is, the less that it relies upon you and the more that you can reap the benefits of that business. Let me provide an example. You have 100 employees, you have management, you have all that stuff. You're the owner at the top, you're making tons of money and you're not doing all the work. So you can leave and go on vacation for 3 months and go somewhere super nice, and then the business keeps making money. But if you have 10 employees, a lot of those people are relying upon you and you're still in that business every single day. So if you can't scale a business to more than just yourself and maybe 10 employees, then it may not be a business that gets a high score in this category. Or I always say, can you scale within your small town if you're in a small town? If you're in a city, very easy for you to scale because there's a lot of opportunity. But in that business, is there enough opportunity for you to scale past $1 million in revenue, 10 million in revenue, and beyond? Because if there isn't that potential there, you may look at yourself down the road and say, why did I get into this business if I can't scale it? Okay, so make sure a high score in this means the business can be scaled. Even if it's hard or easy, there is a possibility that it's going to be scaled out to be a very large business. A low scalability means that it's almost impossible to scale or very hard given your current scenario. Okay. The sixth thing here, the last thing, this is either a 1 or a 5 in my opinion, can be in the middle, but it's can the business be sold? Like I mentioned before, some businesses cannot be sold. If it's just you as the owner, like a tow truck company, right? It's just you have your one truck, you've been doing it for 30 years. It can be sold for a very small amount, basically maybe the phone number, the goodwill towards the website if the website generates leads, but really the next owner is going to have to come in and operate that business. That I don't want to buy that business because I know that I have to come in and hop in a truck. Well, I don't have time to do that. I want to buy a business that's already built out. So can the business can be sold? Depends on how far you want to scale it. And it's kind of a loaded question, but if you really, the easiest way to do this is to research your business on Google and to say, property management companies for sale, see what their revenue is, see what their profit is, see what they're selling for, so you can have a good baseline as to how much your business could be sold for. I would say it is 100% worth it to build a business in which you can sell because it increases your net worth, and it's kind of a two-pronged approach. You're investing in retirement accounts, and then also someday you're able to sell your business for a large sum of money in which you can go into retirement. Okay, so having a business that's sellable is super important. So you're tallying all these things up. A perfect score, 5 times 6 is 30. So because you have 6 categories, like I said, but I would say you would want to be in the 20s to really consider starting this business. Like I said, this is different for everybody. Everybody has different definitions of startup costs, of expertise, of lifestyle fit. But you need to define what you want, and this scale is a great thing in which you can plug business ideas into and really see if they're worth your time, because if you don't and you're just sitting there thinking, you might get a little distracted and say, you know what, I am going to start that business, but you didn't really think through all these things. Now, there may be more things you need to think through, but these things I think everyone should think through before they start a business. And if you need help determining if a business idea is right for you, reach out to me today. I'll be happy to help, free of charge. And if you like today's video, hit like and subscribe. Thanks.